Hey guys. I've been thinking kind of all week about what I want to talk about, and I've had one of those weeks where there's about 500 different things going on in my brain, and I'm really having trouble just narrowing it down to one. But I think that I have a starting place, but it's gonna involve just kind of talking through everything with you all. If you watched my video from last week, you will know that I got a bit of paperwork on Evangeline, and this was a very psychological evaluation, and it measured her strengths and her abilities, what they were able to decipher from the test they did, and just put basically like an age range to her abilities. So she is, I don't know why my nose itches every time I start doing this, but I'm always like, okay. So she is 3 years old. She'll be 4 years old in just a couple months, about 3 months. And they said that certain abilities that she has are only that of a 3-month-old. And that was her receptive language. But I'm just going to state that I've read a lot of studies saying that when kids don't communicate, we often assume they're not understanding, or if they just don't respond the way that we expect them to, we assume they're understanding. So I'm actually going to reject that idea that she only has the receptive language of a 3-month-old, because I feel like she has more. Cliff might disagree with me, but I'm pretty sure when I tell her not to bite mom, she knows not to bite me. Anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent. Sorry. So I got thinking about this paper and how I said it, it's really hard to read stuff like that, and it's really, what paper says about my daughter is not all there is, and medical terminology and really, the professional lingo. And I think it's really important to recognize and to take that into consideration, and to decide what parts of that you want to utilize, and then to go from there. Because in my life and in the line of work that I've done for many, many years, I've really, really seen where people have just taken just that and believed that about their children or about people who they were either working with or helping care for, or knew, and they just stopped there. So this is not saying, I am not trying to say anything bad about the medical community, about psychological evaluations or anything like that. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that the people who are doing these things have met this person for 2 hours, 3 hours. They don't really know them. And I think that that's important. I think I kind of realized this, especially with Evangeline. And, like I said last week, on paper, she's not an impressive kid. But if you know her, you probably love her a lot. Well, I'm assuming, because who wouldn't, right? Oh my gosh. So, and I've seen this trend. I've seen this trend in the field that I work with, and I work with people who, on paper, maybe just don't look like a lot. But in actuality, we're more than that. We're more than what's said about us. There's more to us than, people say or write about us. And I think it's just important to recognize that and to know that. So I was even thinking about this in my own life, how maybe people have said things about me, and I take that to heart, and I think, okay, well, that's it. That's me. I'm trying to think of something that people told me maybe I couldn't do, but I just have that personality where I'm like, psh, I can do that. Watch me go. But Yeah. So, but there's things that people say about you, and then after a while, you start taking those things to heart. You start believing those things, and all of a sudden, self-fulfilling prophecy, you believe that, and then you're done, and you don't go further than what you were told you could go. And I think this is a disservice that we do to a lot of people, not just people with disabilities, but even people of certain economic classes. I think, just all sorts of people, we label them and we stifle them and we tell them everything that they can or cannot do. Now, this is not if you just dream it, you can achieve it, pick yourself up from the bootstraps and go, because yes, there are certain things that always come into play, and it's a lot harder for certain minorities and for certain people of specific classes to get ahead. The opportunities are not there. Is it impossible? No. But does it happen as often as it does for people of privilege? No, it doesn't. And to say that like anyone can achieve anything, I do believe that to a degree, but I also think that part of our job in social justice is to realize that we need to give everyone an equal starting point, and that's where you're gonna see the change. Okay, so that's my blurb. That I'm not saying just dream it and you will achieve it, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you will be able to work past those obstacles, absolutely, and I want to see people try. Like, it doesn't mean you don't try, but I think we also do need to realize that it can be harder for some people. So anyways, so that's just kind of what I've been thinking about. And then also, as I was thinking about this, so this this recommendation for Evangeline was very specific in certain type of therapies that she would need, in how often she would need them, basically recommending like that she have this therapy 25 to 30 hours per week in order to get her to quote unquote where she needs to be. So that just sounds like a full-time job for a 4-year-old, and I wasn't okay with that. And then her school called us and said we need to talk about these recommendations, and they thought that we wanted them to provide them all, I think, which was not the case. But they said, oh, we can't provide this level here at school, and maybe you need to think about, basically the conversation, like maybe you need to pull her out of school to focus on this. And that was actually mentioned to Cliff when he was down there for the appointment. So this is my take on it, and this is what, after thinking about it, I am not going to segregate my child in order to normalize her. And it's all even like ass backwards anyways. So it is very important to me for Evangeline to be around her peers, and her peers may look differently. When she was in Columbus, she was in a school with disabled kids, typical kids of different ethnicities, because it was Columbus, it has plenty of ethnicities, and I love that. It was so inclusive. And here she is also in a class with kids her age, and some of them may have disabilities, some of them may not, but she's there and she's getting to be around her peers. And to me, that is so important, and it absolutely goes against everything I believe in if I were to pull her from that to work on normalization. Because what is normalization? Okay, it doesn't exist. Normal doesn't exist. And this isn't saying like I don't want to do everything I can do for my child to be the best version of herself that she can be. I am not saying that at all. What I am saying is that we put so much stock on people doing certain things at certain times, and on people really conforming in ability wise. We want people to conform ability wise. Like, we're like, be you, be unique, as long as that doesn't interfere with like the status quo and what we deem as socially acceptable for ability level or communication style or, you know, mobility style. When it really gets into it, this is a huge issue. People, medical professionals, doctors have put a really big stock in pushing. Evangeline does not eat orally. She has a G-tube and she receives food that way. And people have put like a really big push to get her to eat. And that doesn't mean I don't work with her, because we work with her on eating. I probably could a little bit more. But she's being cared for. She's getting her nutrition. She's getting her calories. The girl ain't wasting away, let me tell you that. But it kind of like, people think, oh my gosh, she's got to eat by mouth. I feel that way because I love eating. You would never know. But it's just, in the end, why does she doesn't need to. We have the ability, we have the medical know-how to make that not a huge issue. And I'd rather focus on her being included and being out there in the world and being seen. You know, I've said it, I've written it before, but you know, to be a person with a disability and to be in society and to be in community and to be out there is a form of activism, because our world does not like it when things are different from what they think they're supposed to be. And we have very, very ingrained social norms and social ideas about what is good, what is bad, what makes us what's pitiful, what makes us pity someone, or what makes us uncomfortable. And we don't like feelings like that. So we want everyone to fit in this mold, and that's not where the world is heading. And the sooner we accept that and embrace it, the sooner we're gonna stop having, you know, unnecessary anxiety and apprehension about other people. Yeah, so it's my kind of rant. I know that I said I wouldn't like angry scream ever, or I would try not to, so I know that got a little passionate, but this is something that's very near to me and dear to me, and actually always has, even before E was born. This has always mattered to me, and I think it's important, and I think we need to realize that. So, you know, to relate it to you, you know, don't let people tell you what you can or can't be, and don't believe what's written on paper about you. And, you know, I would encourage anyone to like really pursue their dreams and reach for it. And if you're a person in a position of more privilege than another, then maybe you need to use that position to help other people and assist them in achieving their dreams and help to enable them to achieve those. Because not everyone starts out on the same footing. And if you have the ability to do something about it, then I feel like, you know, we absolutely have that responsibility to other people. So, and get out there and don't be normal. Yeah. I think that's it. All right. I got on my soapbox, but I can't tell you the things I've seen and the experiences I've had with forced normalization. It just really drives me batty. So please like my page, please comment on this. If you guys actually start like commenting and we can have a discussion about it, then I'll record a video on Monday to answer those. If not, I've been enjoying our Friday conversations while I'm on my way home from work. So thanks and have a good day.